If you will, of one of our web books called More Than Just a Score. It's our sports marketing web book, and it was actually the first book. Actually, it did used to be a hard copy years ago when I put the first edition out, and it's kind of a compilation of over 20, probably getting close to 25 years of teaching high school sports marketing now. Everything starts at mymarketingwebbooks.com. On this side are links directly to login pages for those items that you already have a site license for. On this side, I'm slowly putting together the tours, like today is for More Than Just a Score, and you'll be able to click on there and see that tour. When you log in, you'll come to the home page, and this is what you'll see. We have Let's Get Started, which I'm going to come back to in just a moment, a table of contents by topic, one that's day by day, taking you through a 45-day block schedule, a little bit of social media marketing here, some blogs to follow, review questions for each chapter, a teacher page, which will include samples, best practices, would you rather activities, place to send me when you find a broken link, because that's one of the downsides of going on the internet. There are any given day, any given link can disappear. PowerPoint decks, which are being expanded right now, and profiles of a couple of the speakers that you'll watch videos from in a Sports Marketing Minute. So back here, when we go to get started, it takes you to a website, and here's the website. It's Brands for You, and you'll have access to this website. And here's what it is. It's hypothetical companies. And I created the hypothetical companies because we actually got in a little hot water by using real businesses during a social media course and posting some things online that the business didn't want there, which is understandable. So I've created at this point 7 different companies. Now this is used differently with all of our web books, and in the sports world, if you're going to be the property, you would be WSU or WU Sports, Western University, the Wildcats. If you click here, you'll find out some information about the hypothetical university, and then go here and you'll get an assortment of brand assets. These can all be downloaded simply by clicking here and then used on any of the materials you create for advertising purposes, for specialty advertising, for promotions, for social media. And we've used it, the logo, on a variety of apparel items and vehicles and outdoor signage, and just there's some popcorn, a bus bench, and all kinds of different options there, so they can be a little bit more realistic. And then the other 6 would be what I would recommend your students use when they need a corporate partner or a sponsor. There's a personal care, a pizza, or an energy drink, running apparel, a credit union, and a cruise line. So what would happen is, for instance, you're studying sponsorship, you might have your students, which is what I recommend, have them pick which one of those 6 businesses they are going to represent during the unit, and everybody will represent the Western Wildcats as it switches around there. So if I'm representing a pizza company, I might be looking for different benefits in a sponsorship package from Western University than if I were the credit union. And if I'm going to be Western University and I'm writing a sponsorship proposal, I'm going to write it differently for Perfect Pizza or for a Grand America Credit Union. So it gives them something as real as we can get to work with without having some of the headaches and problems that come up with copyright issues or just not wanting to put things out there that are for a real business. So those are all available. They will expand, and we'll add some as we move along, and they'll be automatically added to the site. So when you go back here to table of contents, it's split up into 2 halves. Marketing through sports and marketing of sports. So marketing through sports is when a non-sports entity uses sports to market themselves, like a automobile manufacturer becoming a corporate partner with a team, a league, or an event. And on the other end, it's the marketing of sports, which is a little more traditional in terms of what we think of as marketing. In marketing through sports, we cover everything from where sports marketing began and defining it to the need for partnership and how it's growing, why companies want to sponsor and how they decide what to sponsor, how can you leverage a sponsorship. We have some fun with creative marketing versus ambush marketing, rights and benefits, etc. And then on the marketing of sports, you'll go through developing a sports marketing plan, which is a little different in content than a traditional marketing plan. But you'll talk about what the summary is that goes into the executive summary that goes into the plan, and how you analyze things from a SWOT perspective and others, and how you start to set goals and achieve goals, and the components of fan-fun events and public relations and publicity and getting entertainment in and event management, etc. Definitely the best way to teach the course is by doing, and have some events and activities that your students actually do, but it can also be done in a more traditional manner as well. To look through how a chapter looks like, we'll go to Where It Begins, is one of my favorite all times from Bill Veeck, little pitcher Eddie Goodell there with his pretty hard to hit batting stance. And we'll go through and we'll talk a little bit about the history, and I'll actually have the students do some work with looking at some of the events that took place and how they impacted where we're at now, what they brought into the game. We trace some of these examples here of events, and it's one of the really interesting parts as they get to understand is how crazy it is that it hasn't been that long ago that some of this sports marketing actually came together. And you might jump into here about deciding what to sponsor. One of the nice things is we can include images, we can include links, we can embed videos, we can give additional things for your students to read. So there's a lot of benefits to having it in a WebBook format. A few others include keeping the information up to date, always having access to it, which if you're watching this while we're still in the global pandemic and you might be teaching remotely or some type of a hybrid schedule, that'll be beneficial. But the truth is, I've used this online for years, and it's great even if you're teaching from the classroom, because you can't lose the cloud where this is at. Your dog can't eat it. You can't forget it. It's wherever you're at, and it's always available to them. One of the selling points is that every student in your class will log in with the same username and password. We get to the assignment page. We have an assignment here on sponsoring women's sports. There's an article about it, a video to watch, and then an assignment to do. And then in many areas, I'm continuing to add assignments as well that you can have your students. You can choose how many of them you want them to work on, etc. If you're looking for quizzes and tests, I don't really provide them. I've been back and forth on that. And the biggest thing I've found is that everybody puts their own personality into the teaching, and having some type of a cookie cutter quiz or something isn't always effective because it doesn't emphasize what the individual teacher does. From my perspective, I think students, we can measure much more of what they've learned from a good activity or an assignment than we can from an objective test anyhow. So that's kind of my bias there. But that's kind of the way it works. We'd love to fill you in any individual information. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me or give me a call at 801-540-0977. Again, this is Sports More Than Just the Score. Hope you enjoyed the tour and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.